Hi, happy Wednesday. Teresa McGallicher here from the Miracles Tribe with our Wednesday Wisdom video. And I wanted to continue this week on the same theme that I have been speaking about for the last couple of videos, which is dreams. So you see my title is Living the Dream. We're all living the dream here. Some of us are having a nightmare. Some of us are having a happy dream. And I went from the nightmare to the happy dream. So that's become my mission here on planet Earth, is to let everybody know that that is possible, that you don't have to live in a nightmare. And if life seems really hard, if it feels like a struggle, if it seems like everybody else is getting it and knows what to do, and you're the only one who's really suffering or struggling, I'm here to tell you that's unnecessary. You don't have to struggle in life. You don't have to suffer. God doesn't want you to suffer, which is what A Course in Miracles says, that suffering is optional and that sacrifice is never necessary. So in the first video, I came on and I talked about the dreams of the heart, the dreams that I had had for my life, to build a home in the mountains, have a little cabin, and also have a place on the water, and how those dreams have been fulfilled. Those are sort of dreams in the category of fantasy and daydreams, right? And then on the next video in this series, I came on last week and talked about the difference between the dreams you have at night when you're asleep and the dreaming that you're doing in the waking life and during the daytime. Because as we have heard, as I've said several times already, A Course in Miracles says that all our time is spent in dreaming. Whether you're awake or whether you're asleep, it's all a dream. It's all an illusion. None of it is real. It's all being created by the one mind, the higher mind of the one sun, the part of the sonship. So that sounds really interesting and kind of mystical, but how does it help you in your everyday life when you have to deal with difficult people and you have to put up with aggravating things? Well, first of all, the Course says the secret to salvation is but this, that you are doing it to yourself. And what that means is this dreaming life, this dreaming world that we're experiencing every day is being projected from the mind. We are creating it. We are powerful creators, made in the image and the likeness of our Creator. And that's the bad news, but it's also the good news, because it means that you can create something else. You don't have to stay stuck in whatever you have created in the past. You can shift and change, create something new and different in the future. So, I want to share a story with you today about my experience on Christmas Eve this year. I got together with my family, and my son brought a virtual reality headset with him. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to experience one of these. It was my first time trying it, and it blew my mind. It was a mask that went over my eyes, so I couldn't see anything. And then there were pieces that went over your hands so that you could activate the movement within the game. And then my son put me into a virtual reality scene where I felt as though I was hanging on the edge of a cliff, way high up on this cliffside, and standing on this little tiny platform. And even though I knew intellectually that I was in no danger whatsoever, that I was actually standing in the living room on the floor, when I looked down, I felt my stomach lurch. I felt dizzy and frightened, because it felt and it looked as though I were really way high up, clinging onto this cliffside. I could see birds flying by. I could see butterflies. And it felt very, very real. And when I held onto the cliffside and just slightly turned my head to look around, way down in the distance, I could see a little village. And it felt real and it felt scary. And here's what I want to tell you. This life, this world that we're living in here, right now, it's also a virtual reality. It feels real. It feels scary. It feels dangerous. But A Course in Miracles says that we're not really here, that in reality, we're home, safe with God. And this virtual reality game that I played with my son, like, showed me clearly how that could be happening, how this life could feel so real, so like authentically dangerous and scary, even though I knew I wasn't in the game. So eventually I told my son, like, I have to get out, like, turn it off. I couldn't figure out how to get out on my own. And we can't get out of this virtual reality, this illusion that we're living in, on our own either. We need to ask for help. We need to ask for help from a higher power, from the Holy Spirit, from angels, from whoever, Jesus, whoever it is that you feel can help you. You need to be willing to ask for help so that you can be pulled out of the illusion. So the steps, the Course describes that we're on a sort of a ladder, and we can take steps up the ladder. When we're at the bottom of the ladder, we're in that nightmare. We're in that nightmare of a dream where everything seems really tough because we feel burdened with these really negative emotions of shame, of guilt, of sadness. And then as we take the steps by doing the coursework, we climb up the ladder, and then we come to a place of more pleasant emotions where we feel hopeful, where we feel peaceful, where we feel happy. And we can get to the top of the ladder by ourselves and live the happy dream. So this is what my experience has been. I used to be down here a lot. I would go up and then sink back down again. And then I would look around and think everybody else has a reason to be happy, like they have a better life, they have an easier life, they have a nicer boyfriend or whatever, and I'm struggling. But when I found A Course in Miracles and started doing the workbook lessons, it gave me the steps to climb up and to eventually get to this place where life is happy all the time, where life feels joyful and light. And every once in a while, I'll slip back down, but I don't go all the way down here ever anymore. I just slip from here and then go right back up again because I've released all of those lower steps. So I went from the nightmare to the happy dream, and you can too. And that's all that we are able to do for ourselves while we're in this virtual reality. And then the Course says that God takes the last step for us and pulls us up and out of the game, in the same way that my son turned the game off for me and I was able to get out of that scary situation hanging on the side of the cliff. So as long as you know that you are in a virtual reality, that you are in an illusion, what can you do? You can work the steps. You can do the workbook lessons. You can do the shadow work that is required to move up the ladder. You can remember that it's not real, but it's still going to feel scary sometimes, because even though intellectually you know that it's not real, in your body, all of us have taken these emotions and they're trapped in us at a cellular level and they're embodied. So there is work that can be done to release those emotions and to release them from the body, from the cells, so that we don't have to keep repeating that cycle and feeling those feelings. But you have to feel the feelings to let them go. You have to feel it to heal it. And what most of us do is we repress the feelings. We're like, I don't like the way that feels. I don't want to feel that way. I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go eat, so I can focus on that instead of the feeling. Or I'm going to go gamble, or I'm going to go have sex, or I'm going to go shopping, or whatever it is. And this is the root of addictions, is trying to get away from these very uncomfortable feelings that most of us have been experiencing all our lives, because these things get embedded, during the formative years when we're toddlers. But that kind of coping mechanism, emotional coping skill of doing something else other than feeling the feelings, only works in the short term. Eventually, it starts to do more harm than good for us, and it becomes part of the problem instead of the solution. So the solution is to allow yourself to feel the feelings so that you can release them. And then to look at what's going on inside your mind, to look at your thoughts, to look at your belief systems. Because if the feeling is, I'm really sad because nobody likes me, you can ask yourself, is it true? Is it really true that nobody likes me? Yeah, this person right here maybe is being a jerk to me in this moment, and it brings up that feeling from my childhood when I felt unliked. But is that really what's going on all the time? Can I find evidence of 15 people who do like me instead of focusing on that one person who's exhibiting behavior that shows they don't like me? Because perception makes projection. So the things that we believe are the things that we perceive, and the things that we perceive are the things that we create in the virtual reality. And that's how and why we can change our experience. So in case you are newer to our community, I'm Teresa McGallicher. I created this community, the Miracles Attraction community, with my friend and my partner, Carly Hardy. And we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. Carly's on YouTube too, on her own channel, Spirited Carly. And we have some tools to help you with these kinds of things that we would love to share. We have a newsletter that we put out every week, and you can subscribe to that at our website, miraclestribe.com. We have a webinar that we put together on how to solve problems with spiritual solutions. And if you would like for me to interpret your dream for you, send me a message and I'd be happy to do that. Thank you so much for joining me today on this Facebook Live about dreams and our virtual reality here in the world. And the other thing I forgot to mention is when you know that you're stuck in a virtual reality game, the point is to have fun. The point of the game is to have fun. So that's what we should be doing here in the world with our lives while we're in 3D form, is enjoying things, living in joy, having fun. And if you're not living in joy and you're not having fun, then you can change that. Every problem has a solution. So I'll see you again next Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. Love you and have a great week.